So here's my finished UV case. I've done the modeling and I've unwrapped it. And over here on the left hand side, I'll maximize that, are the UV tiles. There are 10 of them in the X and there are 5 more here. So there's a total of 15 of them. And the reason I did that is in order to have more UV space for certain items so I could, increase the texture resolution. On the side here, I've set these up into collections for just different items. So if we come in here and have a look at a few of these pieces, you can see where I've UV unwrapped these. And this is after doing this a couple of times. So what I would do is I would unwrap the bottom, bring it into Substance Painter, and see how it took the texture. And if I didn't like it, I would come back and do it again. So there is my unwrap and where the seams are for that piece there. And that is in the first UV space because it's a large item. Here is the top. And I've unwrapped it very similarly, all right, to the other one. And that is in the second UV space. I wanted a separate one for that insert there. All right, and that is packed in there. And let's see if I go on here. I did the metal plates. Let's just focus on those. All right, so they're pretty much all UV unwrapped by themselves. That's them there. All right, and unwrapped manually without not smart UV projector or anything like that. And I pretty well went around and did all of that stuff. Okay, those are up here. This stuff keeps showing up, but that's this stuff there, unwrapped. Some of the things are still mirrored, like this is still mirrored, and that's fine. Yeah, some of these pieces are still mirrored, and some of it is not. All right, so with it all unwrapped and put into the UV tiles, I'm now ready to start texturing this in Substance Painter. So there's my final model, make an FBX of that. By the way, I've removed some of the vials so that I can just texture one of them and then I can place it in here later. It's a little easier having it out here to do that. So I'm now going to bring this into Substance Painter. All right, here is the model now in Substance Painter, and what you'll notice is there's no materials on this, but I have baked it already. Otherwise, it would take a good amount of time because over here you can see the Antidote case. That is a material applied to everything. In Blender, I had called it base material or something. I just changed it here to Antidote case, and it's got 15 UV tiles. The 14th tile is the vial itself, and I've already gone ahead and textured that. Just that one there. All right, just to save some time. All right, and that was textured just with a simple sort of plastic material and some red and a label that I created in other software, and a couple pieces I created just here. So there's nothing special about that at all. All right, so I'm going to do some texturing of this section. Now, I've got some stuff hidden here. That's the screen graphics because I don't want to do those all over again. I'll show you that later. And we'll do a general texturing here, and of course I may make some changes. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to my Smart Materials and I'm going to start typing plastic. And I'm going to take this plastic stylized and drag that in here. Now this material was created, I showed how to create that when I did the steampunk globe, so I'll link you to that if you want to see the creation of this material. So I saved it as a Smart Material and I'm just throwing it on there to see how it looks. Now I sort of toyed with the idea of doing an orange and black case, and I might still want to do that at some point, but for now I'm going to take this and I'm going to change the base color, and I'm going to try to go for a sort of a dark green kind of a color, kind of like that. And then what I want to do is I want to adjust the edges. All right, again, so this is all in the material, and just bring them down. Something like that. And maybe tweak the color. Now the gradient itself should probably be more in the green area. Just leave it like that, and take this base, and you just find the color that you like. I could leave it like that for now, just for demonstration purposes. Okay, so I'm going to change that to, say, green. And now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to add color to other parts of it. Okay, so there's my stylized green. All right, I'm going to take this and I'm going to, actually, I think what I'll do, let's not do that. Let's add a black mask to this, so now nothing is green. And let's just choose what we want. Choose the polygon fill tool. Come over here, I think, to mesh, and just choose the things that I'm going to want to have green. So let's go around here. That's going to be green, and that, and that, and that, and that. This is obviously a personal choice here. And I think these things in the back of the screen. This is a speaker here, the back of that. Make sure we get that piece in there. The back of this. I'll do the hinges for now, all in green. And again, this may not be the final color as you look at it and you make that decision if that's going to look good or not. I have the speakers in there. I'm going to see if I'm going to press X for nothing and see if I can do those. Let's go back to X. Let's try changing to actually, let's do this. Let's go back to mesh. Let's do that, and then let's go to plane X. Yeah, take those out of there. So we don't want that in green. I think I'll do the hinge in green as well. So let's go back here, get the hinge in mesh, the whole hinge. Let's see what else. I'm going to do those probably in black. We'll try those in black. Well, I might be missing some, but we're going to see anyhow. All right, so that's the main body of it. Now, let's do the black. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate this layer, and I'm going to clear the mask. And let's change this and say maybe black. Come in here, change the base color to sort of a black color, a dark color. And for the gradient, I'll also make that dark. And I may come up here and make the base color a little lighter. So we'll just try this. We'll just experiment a little bit and see what it looks like. Let's go with that at first. We'll come to the black mask, polygon fill, and let's try. Well, we're going to do the insert. And I may or may not want these things all that color. We'll see. I'm going to do the antennas. That's where we're going to really see whether it's dark or not. Okay, that thing. That one, like I say, some of this stuff is mirrored, so I just do it once and it gets the other side. I know I want the base of those things. And let's come in here. I'm going to want the needle straps. Yeah, I may have to change some of this. All right, let's just keep going. The base of the fans. Those two. Base of that and that. That and that. I want the base of all these faders, including the fader itself. And all of these. It's a little repetitive here as I go through this. I'll probably have to change the edges. Come up here, let's see. I can grab that, okay. that one. Right over to here. That piece, that piece, that piece. Before I forget, is there anything up here? No, I'm okay. So far, I'm okay. That one. This one, I may have this whole thing as black. That one. Here. And I got that one. Let's see how that looks. Okay, I seem to have gotten the base in there, so I can come back to here, X, and take that out. Okay, so that's how that is looking. What I may do is come in here to the edges, mask editor, and just decrease that a little bit. All right, I think I'm liking that. What I do see I need to do is I got a screen in there. Let's come back to that's on green, and let's use just plain there. So yeah, okay, I'll do my screen separately. All right, so far so good. So let's now do some silver, I think, for some of this stuff, so that we have black. So let's duplicate that layer. Let's clear the mask so that it doesn't have any of the selections we already had. Let's change that to say silver. And for this one, let's give this is like a color and roughness. We're going to need more. We're going to need metal on there. But let's change that to sort of a lightish blue color. Whitish blue, actually. We'll try that there. Roughness I'm going to drag down to around halfway, and metal a little bit more. Actually, more like that. We're going to try that. I'll leave that, but for the gradient, I'm going to change that to down here and see what we get when we do this. Okay, over onto the silver black mask with mesh, and let's click these. Oh. And then we'll just decide if that's a reasonable color. I can go back and change that in a bit. So I don't want these, may possibly silver. I'm not sure. I'm going to try the fans. And we're going to have these things. All right, we're going to have the toggles. And let's not forget that inner piece there. And of course, we're going to have all of the bolts. So this will take a moment. And the needle also is going to be that metal color. So you can see it can be pretty quick if you're using the same kind of material and you're duplicating it and then just going around. All right, so give me a moment to do this. All right, that's not too bad. And I missed all these pieces here. That's quite a bit of a pain to get, to see if there's anything up there that needs to be silver. As I look at this, I may want to darken this up and get rid of some of that edges. But let's go. So let's say we've got that. Come back to the black. I think I want that stick black, so I'm going to come back to here. And I'll try just clicking there and seeing if I'm going to like it like that. I think I do for the moment. While we're here, let's come back to the mask editor here. And so it's 0.3 now. Let's try 0.3. I mean, it gets darker and duller. I'm going to try, let me go for 0.35 and settle on that. I want a little bit of that white for the stylized look. I may change the shade of this so it doesn't blend into the background as much, but I kind of like it that way anyhow. What to do about these now? Would I potentially want them black? Let's see. Where am I? Let's come back to the black mask. On polygon fill. Let's just do a couple of these. and then sort of step back and have a look at that. Doesn't look too bad. I think what I'm going to do, switch to orthographic and snap it into position. And what I might do is just box select a bunch of these. I may get the background as well by accident, but let's just see how many of these we can do, and then I'll turn it and get the other pieces. And if the fader metal part turns black, we'll just go and change that one piece. Make it a little bit easier on ourselves. All right, so far so good, not too bad. Turn this and zoom in, and then we can individually select these pieces. That worked out actually okay, saved us a little bit of time. Okay, good. And then again, I'm not sure I'm going to like this black on there, but you know, this is the part that really takes time and is your personal preference, and you may be changing it a few times, and I don't want to do that all on camera. So just to show you how I basically would texture this particular model, this stylized look for this model. And I'm even thinking about these things if I want them in black or if I want them in silver. I just want to give it a try on doing these in black. Okay, so where am I? I'm on the black, I'm on one, and what I need to do, I think, is I need to come over to the silver, X to bring it down to black. See, this is one, this white, black, and remove that. Oh, I guess I've got it on the screen. I'll deal with the screen. Okay, it's removed there. And then go back to the black. Let's remove it from, okay. Let's put it on all of these, and we can remove it from the screen if we want to. I'll just come back into plane and X and just get rid of it on that. We can do something different on the screen. So that, let's go back to perspective. It'll look a little bit better. F to frame. So that's with the black on there. I'm not certain about that. We're going to have another look at that soon. But let's have a look at doing a little bit more of this, and then we'll see where we're at. Okay, so we're going to do the colors here on the buttons. All right, and I'm going to probably just take this last silver one, duplicate it, and I will clear the mask, and I will call this BTN button green. And we'll go in and we'll make some changes. And we'll make this a green color. And I can get rid of metal. I'm not going to need that. And we'll leave the roughness up around there. And edges, we'll see about that. Gradient, I'm going to change that to the way the gradient works is a darker version of the base color green. Let's try that and see what it looks like. So back up to here, and polygon fill under mesh, and this one is going to be the green one. Okay, green button, and then I can change the color if I'm not happy with that. Green, 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 and this one. And then, of course, these ones at the front. Maybe I want to have an emission on here. We'll see. I'm not sure. Okay. Just like that. Looks like my case got changed to black again, so I'll fix that up. We'll see if it did or didn't. Green there. And, okay, let's have a look at that. Yeah, bottom of the case turned green again. All right, so black again. So in that case, let's come here. Let's see if this is what I need. Yeah, that's what I needed. Okay, so there are those. I don't know that I want emission all over the place. I was just thinking of doing a subdued color. So there's my green. We can do a little bit of emission. Let's do the red buttons next. So I'm just going to duplicate this and clear the mask. Change this to say button red. and come in here and make this a red color. I'll bring it all the way up, and I will take the gradient and just bring it to there. Let's try that. Come back onto the black mask and polygon fill. Make sure this is on 1 to make it red, and come in here, red, red, red. And I believe I wanted these, maybe I'll make them orange, I don't know. That's red. I might change that, like I said. That's red, and that's red. I may have got the whole thing. No, I didn't. Okay, that's looking actually all right to me. Is there more red? Those are green. I will need the pills, half of the pills red. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, okay. Maybe we can make these little lights here. Maybe I'll make this one red here, though. But maybe we'll make them yellow or something. That one's red. I don't know if we need that or not, but let's go ahead and duplicate that. And let's call this button yellow, or maybe it's going to be orange. Let's clear the mask. A lot of repetitive stuff, but very easy to do once you get going, once you settle on an overall material. All right, okay, it's a pretty bright yellow. Let's see what it's like with the gradient on there as well. Maybe I'll do it like that. Go back to the black mask. Yeah, okay. There's that. All right, so far so good. What we need to do now are these buttons, and I'm thinking about having them, I don't know, I was kind of thinking of doing them in the green and then putting some effect on it. So let's just try, nah, that's not going to be a good color. All right, we'll just choose another color. Let's use this button yellow. How does button yellow look, first of all? Yeah, well, we're going to do like a beige kind of color. All right, so let's do this. Let's duplicate this layer. Let's clear the mask as usual. Let's call this, call it keyboard. And let's create a more neutral kind of color. So that's brown, let's say. Can we make it a little bit lighter? Brown, and I've got yellow in there. I wonder what that would look like. Let's just test it. It might be all right for the time being. So I'm just applying it to these ones. Like that. And let's make that wheel, let's make it black. Come back here. I don't know. Can't really see it too well. Maybe we will leave it on silver for now. All right. Okay, so we have the buttons. So what I'd like to do on the buttons, switch over to orthographic and do another effect on the buttons. So this is the keyboard here. There's the keyboard. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a folder. I'm going to drag the keyboard in there, and I'm going to call this keyboard. And so I've got that. And in the keyboard, I'm actually going to create a paint layer. I'm going to create a paint layer in there, and I'm going to use just color on that, and I'll leave it as white. Yeah. All right, and then I'm going to come over to my alphas. I'm going to choose square. I've done this before in the Kirk submarine. And I'm going to create a square white shape in the middle of that, like this. And I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'll just get it roughly in the middle. More central you get it, the better it'll look. Although we're going to blur this out in a moment. So we're going to do this. And we'll just give this a try, something I like to do. Sometimes I'll do this with an emission. But for the moment, we're just going to do it this way. I'm just going to put those in there. I'll do it a little bit quick so it doesn't take forever. If I have to touch it up, I will. And for this, I'm just going to click and pull across a little bit, holding Shift and Control. So we have that. So that doesn't look too good right there. Let's go back to perspective just to appreciate it a little bit more, like this. All right. On that layer, I'm going to add a filter. And the filter I'm going to choose is the blur filter. All right. And then I'm going to start pulling this up until it's not very visible at all. Just like that. And then I'm going to take this and just reduce it so you get just the slightest blur on there. And that's the effect that I'm going for on that one. And bring it down even more. So you get the slightest sort of beige into white kind of look. So we got that all going. What I'm going to do, I think, is make a change to the plates. Make it a slightly lighter black. All right, to offset it from this. And so I think I'll do that now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this black and I'm going to duplicate the black right above. I will clear the mask, and black copy 2 is fine. I'm going to open this up and just take this black and make it just a little bit lighter, like that, maybe not too much. I'll come back to the black mask, click on this, and I'm just going to select the panels themselves and see if I like that sort of two-tone look a little bit better. Let's just have a look at that. So it's a little bit offset from the background. And what about if that color was on this guy here? For this guy, because I put the silver above, I've really got to delete the silver below. Yeah, you see, like that? That looks okay. It blends into the background, but I don't mind that. All right, let's get those pills going, by the way. I'm going to use some red on one side and white on the other. So I'm going to come over here. I've got a seam in here on this pill, and that's should allow me anyhow to use this to put red only on half of it. I mentioned that in one of my vlogs. Having a seam sometimes can help you with that. So I don't really have a white yet, so maybe we'll make a white. All right, so there's button red. Let's duplicate that. And let's call this button white. I don't know why button white, but we'll just keep with that. Let's clear the mask. Come in here. Base color. Let's change that to just a light color. And that should be good enough. I don't think I'll have to change the gradient. So let's just come over here. And yeah, that makes it a little bit lighter. Lighter white. And then decide if there's anywhere else that I would want that on here. Okay, so far so good. It looks like I've got to make a change to this screen here. Let's come in here and get rid of that green on there. All right, let's work on the speakers now. Let's create a fill layer and a black mask. Let's make this black so it's easier to see. And on the black mask, we are going to choose, I think with planes, let's choose the speaker stuff down here. There we go. Just those, right? And I don't want the green. Okay, good. Okay, so we're going to do it in there to make the speakers. Okay, I'm going to come back to the fill itself, and I'm going to add a fill there. And on the height, I'm going to drag in these dots. All right, those procedural dots. The tiling up. Scale just a little bit so you start seeing those dots. All right, let's try inverting them. So that's looking good so far. And up here, we're going to change this to black. And I'm going to adjust the roughness. I want a little bit less rough, like that. But I want it kind of plasticky, so we've got my speaker dots in there. I mean, that's one way of doing it anyhow, and that I think looks okay. It looks like I missed a little bit of stuff over here, so I'll call this speaker. I'm going to come back to the green, select, okay, yeah. Let's do an emission on one or two of these buttons, and then I'll add in the actual screens. Okay, so let's do this. Let's do a fill layer and call it emission, emissive. And in order to do emissive, I need to come over here and make sure that I have an emissive channel. If I don't, I have to add it up here. Click the plus and choose emissive. But I've already got one, so that's because I have one on my screen. So we've got that. So I'm going to add a black mask. And over here, I'm going to choose color and emission. And I'm going to change my emission to sort of a greenish color. I'll change my height also to a greenish color. Did I say my height? Change my color to a greenish color. All right, come back over here. And I'm going to use a square alpha for this. And we'll come down here. And let's see what it's like. Do the graphic. Now, the other thing you need to do is have the emissive intensity up a little bit over here. Let's see what this looks like. All right, not too thrilling yet, but let's go and turn on. Let's activate post effects, glare, and come into glare and make sure we're on bloom. Let's increase the size of that. And we can have a button that glows. I could change that now to a circle. And now I've got that one glowing. Let's have a look at this now with the screens on. All right, just a screen texture on there and some graphics. I'm going to maximize that. I've also got a little bit of font on here. And there's my case. Put some text on the buttons. I would then bring that into Blender, position the vials, and we would be done. All right, so that's the texturing so far of the Antidote case. I may change the colors, I may tweak this, but that's one easy way to do that. All right, I'll see you next time when we'll bring this into Blender and we'll have a final look.